Hello everyone, my name is Mara Victoria and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my full weight loss journey. I always talk about the results, but today I want to share the journey with you guys. I'm going to be going as far as my childhood, just going through real life things that have happened to me that have led me here to finally being the woman that I am with good eating habits and trying to live a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. If you're just now starting your journey, be sure to save this video. You never know, it just might change your life. Okay, so to start off from the beginning, let me just mention that I've always been like a chubby child. I wasn't overweight when I was a kid, but I was definitely chubby. I was influenced by my parents' own bad eating habits. My mom always had good eating habits until she met my dad. They fell in love, they had kids, and then she had gained some weight. But my dad was always a chubby guy. He was chubby as a kid. He was a lean teenager, but then he was overweight again in his adult life. So both of my parents both struggled and they tried. I feel like my mom really did try to implement good eating habits, but my dad would just kind of shut that down because he had his own habits. So it was just a constant teeter-totter in my household, I remember. And I remember looking at my mom like, why do you hate me? Like, why don't you want me to eat this? Like, why can't I have this cookie? But me obviously not knowing that she was just trying to limit me and make sure that I had a balanced diet. Once I became a teenager, I feel like my mom still tried to implement those eating habits, those good eating habits, but I feel like it was too late for me. I feel like, I didn't have a limit when it came to food. It was just, it's harder when you're older. I feel like it was harder for me in my teens, especially my teens. I feel like it was hard, but my mom did try to limit our bad food intake. But my mom always cooked. We always had homemade meals. So at least that was good. We never really ate out with my mom. By that time, I thought like our habits were already like locked in. Sometimes my mom would try to take away food from me and I feel like it'd be too late. Like I was like, girl, at that time I already had like a voice. I feel like I wasn't a kid anymore. So I'd be like, wait, why is she taking that away from me? But me not knowing that she's trying to help me. At that time, I'm like, why does she hate me? Or right before I turned 15, I had lost about 30 pounds. We had just recently lost my dad. My dad passed away from a heart attack in his 40s, and he did it due to diabetes. So my mom completely changed our lifestyle when it came to food. Me and my middle brother were always we've always been overweight our whole lives, and she was so worried about us and herself as well. My mom is very petite and she felt uncomfortable on her skin, so she made a huge change. She made a huge decision to make a change, and she introduced me and my brother to acupuncture. If you don't know what acupuncture is, it's these little tiny micro little tiny needles that go into your ear, and they help with your appetite. They help control your appetite. It's like a more holistic approach. Of course, with that, you have to follow a specific meal plan. And honestly, now that I'm an adult, I know the meal plan alone was enough to lose weight, but I'm just so grateful to my mom for trying to change me and my brother. She was so scared. We had just lost my dad, so she was just terrified that me and my brother were pre-diabetic. So she was just trying to save us as fast as she could. So I was like 14. Turning 15, I was about to be 15, but I was 14 years old, and I think I was like 250. I was 250 and then, or 240 at that time, and I had lost 30 pounds. So I felt tiny, and it was just in time for my quinceañera. Thank God my mom made us go through that, or she made us go through that, because once I had my quinceañera and all those photos, I would have been so much more overweight, but I feel like I looked perfect and I looked my age, because that was one of the things people always thought I was older because I was so overweight. And it was like strangers always thought I was older, and it was So embarrassing. My mom tried her hardest to take care of us during that time. Like I said, my dad passed away due to diabetes, and then I have diabetes on both sides of my family. I have some family members that have had to have like a leg amputation, or I've had family members that have lost their eyesight due to diabetes. So my mom just wanted to break that cycle. She was so worried, and herself as well. She really locked in and changed her whole lifestyle. My mom has had her transformation over like 15 years now. As soon as my dad passed away, she completely changed her lifestyle for the better. And I'm so grateful to her for that, because she didn't have to do that. You know, she could have been like, well, but she really locked in. And my mom is an almond mom though, so just beware. My mom is an almond mom, okay? So if you're gonna go through a weight loss journey, or just even you're into nutrition or into health, my mom is the girl to talk to about it, because that's her passion. She loves it. She loves taking care of herself, and I really admire that. With that being said, I had lost 30 pounds when I was 14 years old. I already lost a huge amount of weight. And what happens? As soon as everybody stops helping me, and as soon as we get off the diet, because we had lost a significant amount of weight, I got off the diet and I completely gained everything back. I gained everything back in like 6 months. The same 6 months that it took for me to lose the weight I think I gained it in 5 months. I didn't learn a thing. I went right back to my eating habits, but I knew on paper what I had to eat, just because it said it there. It would have a section saying what to eat, and then a section at the bottom saying, these are the foods you cannot have, period. Like point blank, these are the foods you cannot have. So I just completely disregarded that, okay? I didn't pay attention, I dismissed it, and I gained all the weight back. A few years went by. I kept slowly gaining weight in my high school years. And then after high school, I went to college. Now, college was so different because I had the freedom to prepare food for myself. I had the freedom to exercise and go to the gym and do whatever I wanted at this time. And I remember taking a class. It was an elective, and it was weight training. And I had met an amazing friend. She was from Sweden, and she was like, she knew so much. She knew everything about weight training, and she would help me. I would follow her around the class, and she would tell me about form. She would tell me progressive overload. She taught me so much. And then once we finished that weight training class, she told me to do boxing. She's like, let's take this boxing class this next semester. She's like, I'll help you. And I was like, okay, of course. Like, I trust you. She was so informative. She was so knowledgeable. She still is. She's still training, and I love to see her. Naturally, slowly, I lost 30 pounds at this time. And I remember this was the first time that I wasn't trying to lose weight. This was the first time I wasn't on the scale every morning checking my weight. I just remember having that number in my head when I started college. And then, once I was working out, eating less, I had seen the number on the scale again, and I was like, wait, is this right? I was so confused, but I had lost another 30 pounds. I was so happy, over the moon. I felt like my clothes fit differently. My face came out so different in photos. That's always the best. And I wasn't small by any means. I've always been overweight. I need you guys to know this. So in my head, small and like lighter is different maybe for you guys than it is for me. But I've always been overweight. So at this time I had lost 30 pounds, but I'm still probably like 2 something at this time. I noticed a huge difference in my face. My face got slimmer. My clothes were fitting differently. So after I had graduated college, I had stopped moving around as much. I didn't go to class. I wasn't boxing or doing my weight training classes anymore, and I had gotten a desk job. I finally got a desk job with the Master Makeup Academy. And we started traveling. We started traveling every weekend, teaching makeup seminars across the US. And with that, every state, every new spot that we would visit, I would get a little carried away and want to try the food there and what that state had to offer. I just remember eating in abundance. And I remember most of the week we would be sitting, I would be sedentary, working on our computer, and then in the weekends is when we would travel, we would move, we would, go to the airport, carry heavy luggages. So I was active, but only for a little bit. I wasn't even nowhere near. I wasn't even walking at that time. Who knows how many steps I got that day. And I was overeating. I remember I was ordering out breakfast, lunch, and dinner because I was also so busy working that I just didn't have time, or I just didn't want to put in the effort to cooking or meal prepping or planning. So I would order breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. I had gained 30 pounds. I actually think I gained 40 pounds. So about this time, I was 40 pounds overweight. I couldn't believe it. I remember I was eating almost like 3 to 4 times a day, and big meals, okay? They were not small meals. And it was whatever I was craving. It wasn't like, oh, let me have something yummy and filling and healthy. No, it was like whatever I was craving in that moment, I would get. And I remember just feeling so full all the time. I don't even think I had the sensation of being hungry because I was always eating and overeating at that. So at this point, I'm like 30, 40 pounds overweight, and I'm kind of fed up. I'm so sick of yo-yo dieting at this point. I'm fed up. I know I'm cute. Like, my weight has nothing to do with anything. And that's the mentality that I had. And then the year was 2019. I don't know what happened to me, what ignited in me, but I had seen this dress that I wanted to fit into, and I knew I was gonna fit into this black dress. It's just a black dress. It wasn't even like this gorgeous gown. It was just a black, hot, like sexy dress that I knew I wanted to fit into. And I started the keto diet. That was the first time I had did the keto diet, which is all proteins and fats. You stay away from carbs. You don't touch any carbs, whether it's good carbs or bad carbs, you don't touch carbs, but you can have like cheese and butter and meats, lots of meats. I had like chicken and eggs. And I remember I was just doing keto and I dropped like that. I think I dropped like 40 pounds like this. I was on top of the world. I remember the summer of 2019 was one of the best summers I've ever had. I just remember feeling on top of the world. At that point, I had moved out to downtown LA. I was helping my brother with his dreams and just really supporting him and helping him. I was a part of the team. So he had a very, very nice, luxurious gym in his apartment. Girl, I was in there every day. I was in there every single day. Whether it was morning, noon, or night, I made it a priority to work out. But I was there every day, moving my body, sweating, making sure I got my steps in. I was on the elliptical. I was on the stairs. I was just moving. And I remember being so proud of myself, and everyone was proud of me. And everyone at that time, we had opened up the school, the Master Makeup Academy, physically in Los Angeles. And I remember we had so many students, and everyone would comment on my weight loss and how did you do it? And people would ask me, and it just sucked because the second I stopped dieting is the second I would start gaining weight, because I just didn't know how to I only knew how to lose weight or not be on a diet. Like, I just didn't know how to maintain. I didn't have good eating habits. I just knew that I was on a diet, and sometimes I would eat bad. I would have like a cheat meal, but it still didn't click, and it really sucked because I gained the weight back so fast. The pandemic hit. It was 2020, and I remember I was still on my fitness journey in 2020. It was like January, it was February, it was March, and I remember I was working out, I was walking, and I just remember the pandemic hits. It's April, we're in lockdown, no one can move, and I remember still trying to be cute, be active in the apartment. I remember we couldn't move, we couldn't go outside. I felt like Rapunzel stuck in her tower because there were so many people in that apartment complex, you could not leave it. I remember trying to be cute and trying to do different exercises. I had like a yoga mat, I had like a 5-pound weight and a set of 10-pound weights. and I really tried to be active, but honestly, the pandemic got to me. Once I started getting bored of working out, I started munching and snacking and eating. And at that point, I didn't have a sleep schedule. I would stay up the whole night, and it was honestly so much fun. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sit here and be like it was depressing. It was a great time. Just because we finally had time. At that time, I had been traveling straight for like 2 years. So I was grateful for like a little bit of time off, despite, the chaos and the horrible things that it came with. But I was just happy for that time off. And I remember just eating, and it got it got more. And then I started eating sandwiches and cereal and this and ramen and instant ramen, okay, not ramen. I was eating like instant ramens. And I just remember by the end of 2020, you guys, I had lost either 30 or 40, like almost 40 pounds. By the end of 2020, I think I had gained 50 pounds. And I remember seeing my videos and just being in shock because my clothes were getting tighter and tighter. And mind you, these are new clothes that I bought. These are new clothes that I bought because I was so proud of myself for being on the keto diet, and I lost so much weight like this, and I was so happy. And I couldn't believe that my clothes were fitting tight. I honestly couldn't believe it, that this was happening to me again. And I was like, why don't I learn? Like, is this gonna be me for the rest of my life? My photos, I wasn't coming out how I wanted to in my photos. I would try to pose, and it wouldn't look how I wanted it to look. I mean, granted, I was still a baddie. Don't ever get that twisted. I was still a baddie, but it just wasn't what the aesthetic that I wanted. I knew that I had to change, but girl, when? It's like, oh, Monday. Like, okay, so let's start today. Today's Tuesday. Like, let's start today. So at this point, we're over the pandemic. It's 2021. It's 2022, 23, 24, 25. 21, I mentioned in my other video. If you guys want to go ahead and check that out, I do have a video on how I lost 80 pounds recently, and I've been able to keep it off for 2 years, which is 2 years longer than I've ever been able to. But I do go in depth about my back injury. But in 2021, I had a back injury, I still suffer from it, but I know how to take care of it now. I know how to tread carefully with my back now, and I just know how to take care of it now. At that time, I was going through a lot. I had just gained the weight back from COVID and, my keto diet. I had gained 40 pounds back. Then I got depressed from my back injury. And then I also, in my other video, I mentioned that I did go through a horrible heartbreak. So I was down bad. I was down so bad mentally, and I was overeating. Then I got an amazing job that really helped me heal. And I was working at a luxury car dealership that was honestly so much fun. It was a lot of work, but it was so much fun. And I was able to start healing slowly. At that point, I was at my heaviest weight I had ever been in my life. I didn't even recognize myself in photos. I was just like, who is that? Like, I'm a baddie regardless, but who is that? I just knew that I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't like insecure, okay? That was never have I ever had that. I wasn't insecure, but I was definitely uncomfortable. I don't know why, but I just remember feeling less feminine being at such a high weight for me, for my body. I just felt like, I don't know why, I was starting to feel less feminine, and it was really affecting me. So, because that's who I am, that's my personality. I'm just a girl. The real struggle was just not knowing, being uninformed. And honestly, ignorance is bliss as well. When you know better, you can do better. And sometimes, I always had help. I had the acupuncture. There was Weight Watchers. There's my mom. There's always someone. There's always someone giving me food, telling me what to eat. And it was never what should I do? Maybe I should have some chicken and rice and veggies. Like, I never thought that way until now. So fast forward, I have another back flare up, and now this is in 2024. And at this point, I'm fed up. I'm fed up. I'm so tired of being tired. I'm tired of hurting and aching. I'm tired of it. Like, I was like, that's not me. So I got introduced to Ozempic, and I learned what food noise was. First time in my life that I didn't have food noise. And I was on it for a little while. I did lose 20 pounds from it. It was the start, it's the root of what has allowed me to do what I've done today. And that's lose 80 pounds and keep it off. I've learned so much about my own body and just listening to my body. And when I feed my body healthy foods, she always thanks me, and it shows. Like, to me, it shows. I can always see it, and I'm always like, okay, I want to keep going. Like, I love this feeling. It's mental, it's physical, it's, it's, you can see it on your skin, on your hair. It just comes off of you when you speak, and I love it. I love who I am now, and I'm so glad I'm finally here. That was the start of my weight loss journey, and then I just kept going because I couldn't be on it. Unfortunately, I couldn't keep taking it, but I just kept those good habits. I would wake up early and get my 10,000 steps in, and then I would fast until 12 or 1 and have my first meal. I would break my fast with the yummy, healthy, I always chose breakfast. Always, even if it was like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, I would always choose breakfast because it's so easy for me to have like protein with my eggs, cottage cheese, and a sausage, or eggs, cottage cheese, and like a meat. So it was so easy for me to choose breakfast as my first meal. I would break my fast with whole foods, and then I would sleep early. I would have my 2 to 3 meals. They were all high protein based, and they were a little bit, to be honest. I wasn't overeating at that time, and I was only walking. Walking will have the weight fall off of you. And it does have to be 10,000 steps. It does. If you can do 10,000 or more, that's perfect, but that's what has helped me so much. And also sleeping. Sleeping is essential when it comes to weight loss. When you're sleeping, your body is healing itself. So when I would wake up in the morning after a great night's sleep, I would drop weight. It was insane. And I'm going to do it again. But sleeping, walking, and eating high protein meals, wow, you will see the weight fall off. And it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be difficult. The plan is so simple. It's so simple to lose weight, but it's very, very challenging mentally, especially if you're like me, if your story is something like mine where you just can't grasp it and you feel like you can't. But now I finally have been able to break that like sick cycle that I've always had. And you can too. It just takes time. And I'm so grateful. It's 80 pounds lost, 80 pounds off of me. And my heart is happy, and I know my body's happy. But it did take me 30 years to get here, and it's a challenge. I feel like some people, they don't really understand it, and only like if you know, you know. I still have food noise. I still have cravings, but now I just make a choice. I always make a choice. And if I do want to indulge, or if I do want to treat myself, it's always with people. I do not eat bad by myself anymore because I lost my privileges, and I cannot do that. I cannot be trusted. But if my friend is here, if somebody's here, like, let's go get Taco Bell, I'm like, oh my God, I love Taco Bell. Up until now, this journey has been so emotional. I've learned so much about nutrition. I've learned so much about my triggers. I've learned about food noise and my body signals, and I'm so grateful for that. Everything that I went through has led me here to where I am now, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm just happy that it finally happened, and I've been able to keep the weight off for 2 years now, and I'm just so proud of myself that I finally made the change. and I'm exactly who I want to be. I'm exactly the person that I want to be. This is who I saw myself as in the past. So I'm just so grateful. This journey was so personal. It was emotional. It was educational, and it was spiritual. Honestly, I'm just so grateful for everything else that I have learned along the way. It wasn't just about weight loss. It wasn't just about fat loss or the number on the scale. It's so much more than that. So I'm just so grateful. If you're struggling with your weight, just know that you are not alone. I hope you can relate to my story. I hope somebody can relate to my story. But I just want you to know that you got this. You're gonna do it on your own time. Don't let anyone shame you into starting. You have to do it for yourself, and you'll know why. Because every time you want to give up, you'll know that there's a greater purpose and a greater goal. Healthy habits have honestly healed my life. And I hope my story reminds you that it's never too late to start. It's never too late. If you're alive, it's never too late. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you really like this video, be sure to subscribe for more. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for hearing me ramble and talk and share my story. I'm so appreciative of you guys. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.